Hey, this is Corey from Wolfpack Woodcraft, and this is a series where you get to ask me a question, whether it's about camping, backpacking, hiking, bushcraft, woodcraft, survival, preparedness, whatever it is. Leave it in that comment section down below, and I will try to answer as many questions as I can. Also, make sure to subscribe and hit that little bell so that when I do make videos answering your guys' questions, you get notified and can get your answers right away. So with that being said, let's jump into today's question.
All right, so today's question is, which knife should I get? If you've ever mentioned the outdoors in public, somebody has asked you, which knife should I get? What knife do you recommend? What knife is best for this? What knife is best for that? Everybody seems to be looking for that one magical knife that's just perfect for them. And we all have given and received the exact same answer, which is, it depends. And there are 4 things that it's dependent upon, all of which I plan on sharing with you. But before I do, I want you to understand that I myself, another person on the internet, someone standing behind a sales counter, will never be able to tell you which knife is best for you. We all have different sized hands. We all have scars that create different hot spots. We all have a different mindset of what a knife should do and what a knife should be capable of and what it shouldn't be capable of. We all think differently. We all have different hands. And so what's right for me may not be right for you, and what's right for you may not be right for me. And to be completely honest, there are knives on this table right now that I will never use because they're not right for me either. And so I thought that they were going to perform a certain way. They didn't meet my expectations, and so they just sit around. So nobody, including myself, can tell you which knife is right for you. And there are going to be times where you yourself can't even tell you which knife is right for you. But hopefully I can head you in the right direction so that you can get as close as you possibly can and then tweak and upgrade from there. So let's get into number 1, which is you need to know where you're going. All right, this seems so obvious, but people overlook it all the time. And where are you going? The knife you take deep sea diving is not going to be the same knife that you carry into Walmart. It's not going to be the same knife that you carry up north into the heavy, thick woods, the Canadian wilderness, or the Sahara Desert, or the African rainforest, or all these different weather conditions, all these different atmospheres, all these different tasks that present themselves to you in these different locations, the laws and regulations in these different locations, all are going to dictate what knife is going to fit that particular niche or that particular location. And so the very first thing you need to ask yourself is, where are you going? And then try to find a knife that best represents what it is that you're doing. Second thing is you need to understand, what do you expect that knife to do? All right, there are some people that are looking for a knife that they can use to fillet fish, and that's the only task that they request from their blade, in which case a fillet knife is going to perform that task better than all these other knives. It's going to do the job better, more efficiently. It's perfect for you, but it's not going to be perfect for the person that's using it to start fires and for wood processing. Even Mora makes a fishing knife, and so if that's a name that you've heard and a brand that you enjoy, you can get a Mora fillet knife if that's what you're into. If you're going to be, again, hacking and slashing a lot of vines and hacking your way, making your own trails, maybe a machete is a better option. If you're going to be chopping bamboo and some more thicker, denser, harder materials, maybe a kukri is a better option. Where you're going and what you expect to get out of that knife are the 2 things that are really going to guide you into a specific direction the fastest and more accurate. Because the rules and regulations are going to condense it. The environment and weather is going to condense it even more. And what you expect that knife to do is really going to pinpoint what kind of blade you're going to need. All right. From there, you're also going to have to consider budget. All right. So this knife here and this one here are essentially can do the same thing. Essentially, these both can perform the exact same task. The difference is this one is twice as much as this one. And so if you can't afford this one, this is a really great option. The BK9 is probably one of my favorite blades ever, regardless of the price. If price didn't matter, this is still one that I would pick up. I love this blade. This one, this is the Vengeful One. This is a great blade as well. It does have a couple more advantages over the BK9. But another budget thing you have to keep in mind is you might want to spend less on the blade so that you can spend more on a comfortable, well-made sheath. All right. If you spend more on the knife itself, you are stuck with whatever junk sheath comes with it. So that's something you have to keep in mind as well. If this is something that you hate, if you hate the sheath and you don't carry the knife, there's no point in spending that kind of money. You're better off buying a cheaper blade with a sheath that you're going to carry than you are carrying or spending the money on a blade that's going to stay at home. Another example of that is right here. We have a Garberg and a Genesis. This is the Larry Roberts Signature Edition Genesis. Now essentially these can do the exact same thing, but this one is half the price of this one. Okay, and so you have to keep that in mind. But the difference here is this one is cheaper and I don't like the sheath as much. And so I spend less on the blade and I still have to upgrade the sheath, where this one is twice as much. I love this knife and it comes with a really great sheath. I love this sheath. So this package right here, even though I spent twice as much, it's perfect the way it is. I didn't have to upgrade anything. And so budget rather, doesn't exactly mean just the knife. You have to keep the whole package in mind. The sheath, how you're going to carry it, how you're going to store it, how you're going to do different things. The high carbon steel is going to rust easier, so you have to maintain it more. And so all these things nickel and dime you over time. And so keep that in mind when you're thinking of budget. The fourth thing is going to really dictate what it is that you need. Your perfect knife is really going to be narrowed down to one or two options with this fourth thing, but it's not going to help you today. It's going to help you years from now after you have studied, and that is skills. There are people that can process an entire tree with a Mora companion. I'm not one of those people. Chances are you're not one of those people either. And so because of that, I can't use this for the same task they can. All right? Just because somebody can doesn't mean that you can. Right? And so you're going to need something else. You're not going to be able to use the thing that Dave Canterbury uses, that Cody Lundeen uses, that Matt Graham uses, that all these very high experienced, lived in the woods people have the skills that we don't, and so they're able to use their knives in much different ways. But that doesn't mean that you're not going to get there someday. And so as your skills develop, as your techniques develop, as you learn the different makes and models and the different shapes of the handles and how a square handle feels to a round handle, there's different things you're going to learn along the way, and they're going to alter how you handle blades and what you think of when you think of the best knife for the task. Like if you're hacking vines in the jungle, this might be ideal right now, but as you learn different ways of holding the handle and different ways of leveraging your blade, this might get to be too big and annoying for you, and you might find that something smaller can get the job done just as easy with your new skill set, and yet it's a lot easier on the wrist. It's a lot easier to manage. It can accomplish more tasks much easier than this large machete can. And so as your skills advance, your perfect knife is going to change over time. So keep that in mind as well. So with that being said, make sure to leave any knowledge or questions in that comment section. I want to know what your perfect blade is. Leave it in the comment section, and also leave any questions you have in that comment section. Winter's coming. I'm not going to be able to get out as much as I would like to, but I can answer as many questions as I possibly can to make sure that everybody is as comfortable as possible this spring. So get in that comment section, and I can't wait to see you on my next video.